Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday to everybody that made it through another week. As always, before we ask God to come in and touch our hearts, God, we just want to thank you for everything you've already done. And if you don't do another thing for us, you've already done enough. Lord, we just thank you for letting us see another day and getting through another week in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a racial war, in the middle of all the craziness that's going on through our lives. You have seen to it that we made it through another week. So today, I wanted to ask you a question. So have you ever been doing something or that you knew you shouldn't have been doing? And somebody walks in on you, walks by you, and just gives you a look. They don't even say anything. They just give you a look. And the first thing you say is, "Don't judge me." That's the first thing you say. They don't even have to say anything. They can just give you that look. And you say, "Don't judge me." Now, most of the time, they weren't even paying you any attention until you brought yourself to their attention. So let me tell you. So I have acid reflux. And my acid reflux shows itself by going into these coughing fits. And it's when I eat something or drink something that I shouldn't, that I have these coughing fits. So when I'm eating something that I know is going to make me cough, even though I know I shouldn't be eating it, I'll have friends or I have my family just look at me. They don't even say anything. They just look at me. And the first thing I'll do is say, "Don't judge me. I got to eat something." But here's the issue with me saying, "Don't judge me." Telling the truth to somebody is not judging them. You are pointing out the facts. I know if I eat that chocolate, within seconds, I'm going to start coughing. So they don't want to hear the coughing, and they don't want to hear me complain. So they're saying, "Why are you eating that when you know it's going to cause you problems?" So judging somebody is not the same as telling the truth. So just remember that. And sometimes we say, "Don't judge me," as a defense mechanism because we don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear that you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be going over there. You shouldn't be eating whatever it is that you know you shouldn't be doing that you're doing anyway. So you'll say, "Don't judge me," because you know the Bible says, "Don't judge unless God will judge you." So none of us have any place in our life to judge anybody. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever talked to somebody that someone else told you something about, but you didn't even know them? And you took what they said at face value. And then you met the person and you started talking to the person and you said to them, "You know what? You ain't a bad person after all." Now, they'll usually follow that up with a laugh, but there's always a lot of truth in joking. So if somebody says, "You're not a bad person after all," first thing I want to think is, well, who said I was? And you don't even know me, apparently, to think that. And so obviously you were judging me based on somebody else's assessment of me. So don't slip up and do that. See, we're experts at judging other people on their stuff. But when it comes to our stuff, now we don't want to talk about that. So it's easy to judge somebody. I can judge you, or I can say, "Well, I don't smoke, and I don't do drugs, and I don't gamble." So it's easy for me to say to you, "You shouldn't do those things," because those are the things that I don't have a problem with. Those are the things I don't do. So I can talk about that. But you know what? I eat the wrong stuff. I take over in places when no one steps up. Although no one asked me to take over and be in charge, I take over. That's not good. And I don't always practice what I preach. So when you come at me with, "Well, you came into the room and took over and you didn't even know what was going on," instead of me saying, "Yeah, but nobody else was doing it, so I stepped up." No, it's not a "yeah, but," because remember I told you, anytime you add a "but" to the sentence, you've already canceled everything somebody said right before that. So take your lick and keep on going and say, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have taken over. I should have came in, sat down, seen what was going on, and then jumped in and put my help up. So there is a relationship technique called Johari's window. And one of the areas it talks about is the blind spot or blind self. And that's the only one I want to talk about in this. The blind spot is the area in which certain information on your personality is known to others, but not known to you. In simple terms, other people interpret your personality different than you might expect. In other words, everyone else sees your issues except you. Everyone else sees as soon as you come into the place, there's going to be issues. Now, when you're dealing with this area, you have to be ready to hear things that you may not like the truth. So let me say that you have to be willing to hear the truth and not get mad. And even if you get mad, don't show it, because nobody cares that you're getting mad, especially if they're trying to tell you something that's going to help you. So we have to be careful of our blind spots in our life. You know, a blind spot is like when you're driving and you go to change lanes and then there's a car right there. You never saw it coming. That's in your blind spot. Well, we have blind spots in our life. You know, that family member that always causes issues and problems whenever they come together. So the next time you decide to have a get together, you make sure you exclude them, or you tell the people, don't invite them. Because if they're invited, then I'm not coming. Because every time. Because they may not see that they're the problem. And since nobody is going to step up and tell them, because they know once they tell them, it's going to open up a whole nother can of worms. You know, that coworker that brings that unwanted energy, that negative energy, as soon as they get their toe in the door. So when you decide that, hey, we're going to go out after work, but don't invite them, that's because if a person comes into the job, if we start at 6:30, and at 6:35, you fussing and complaining and mad, you came in like that. Because you didn't even give the day a chance for us to make you upset. You came in the door like that. So you probably was at home dealing with some stuff and you thought it was okay to bring it to work. So as soon as we see you, everybody scatters because they don't want to hear that. So, and then you got the church member, the board member, that every time they walk in the room, and now, you know, with COVID, every time you see them on the Zoom, you know, here we go, because they're not going to let the meeting go without starting something or saying something or being cantankerous, just for no reason. So remember that people are not judging you when they tell you the truth. We just got to take the blinders off and listen to what they're saying and look back and see. I had a conversation with somebody and I said to them, I wish I had a hidden camera to show you what other people see that you don't seem to see. Because when we talk to you about it, then it's, oh, that's not what I meant. But you know what? We're not mind readers. People are not mind readers. So their job is not to try to figure out what you mean. They're looking at what you say. They're looking at how you act. So later on, when you say, oh, I didn't mean it like that, it falls on deaf ears because that's how they took it. So we got to take our blinders off, get out that blind spot. So trust me, everybody ain't judging you because they're trying to help you. Those that don't say anything to you don't really care. They don't care if you fall. They don't care what happens. But those of us that love you, our friends and family that love you, that try to pull your coattail, listen, don't be so argumentative because you're not always right. I know that's hard for somebody, but you're not always right and everybody else is wrong. That's crazy. That's crazy to even think that you're the only one that figured it out when you got 20 people saying, no, this is how it looks and this is what you did. And you're saying, no, you're all wrong. Guess what? You're not going to be invited to nothing else they have because they don't want that energy. So remember, You can't judge somebody based on what somebody else told you about them. You got to make your own decisions. We're not in 8th grade. I can have a disagreement with somebody and my friend can still be their friend, because we're not in 8th grade anymore. We're not in elementary where I don't like you because they don't like you. Come on now. You got to make your own decisions, because people grow and people change. So maybe when you dealt with them, they did have an issue, but they might have got that issue fixed, but you still back on when they upset you. Get out your way. Get out your own way too. So remember, as you go on, when you get ready to say, don't judge me, look at what you're doing. Put that cake down. When they're saying, aren't you diabetic? Don't you have the sugar? And you drinking cake, put that soda down. Before you say, don't judge me, look at what you're doing first. And go, oh, you're not judging me. You're actually telling me something that might help me. That you're not trying to hurt me. You're trying to help me. So remember that. Nobody's out to get you. Nobody wants to hurt your feelings. They want to help you. Because what they don't want to hear is, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now they're taking my toe off. They don't want to hear that, because they try to tell you. So, all right. Well, you all have a blessed day. And listen, don't judge me. Bye.